Well, earlier on today, our political editor Andy Bell spoke to the Planning Minister Nick Boles and asked him what he made of Mary Portas' comments.
Mary Portas says not enough joined-up thinking in government about the high street. Is she right?
I don't accept that, but I do think that Mary Portas has a lot of very good ideas, and I agree with much of what she's had to say today. Town centres and high streets are going to have to change quite dramatically, but that doesn't mean that somehow they're going to die. It means that there's going to be different kind of activity, a lot of it perhaps not retail, than perhaps was the case 10, 20, 30 years ago.
But isn't the danger that the whole thrust of your government, and you're the planning minister, is to make it easier to develop out of town? And the logical result of that is high streets start dying.
No, that's not true at all. We have very, very clear town centre first policies, and we're not making it easier to develop retail out of town. What we are trying to make it easier to do is in the sort of outlying bits of town centres, not the absolute core, but in those sort of straggly streets that lead into town centres, that there it should be easier to convert property from retail to other uses like residential. So that's the liberalisation that we're bringing forward.
But you are prepared to say that your government has made it harder for people to develop retail sites out of town. You're prepared to go on the record and say that?
We have very strong policies that suggest that you should put developments in the town centre unless you can demonstrate that the town centre has no sites that are appropriate for that.
So it's now harder
activity.
than it used to be, is my
I've
point.
said what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it just like I've said it. You can't get me to say it in any different way.
But we have to accept that there will be less retail on our high streets in the future.
I think that's probably right, that there certainly I think will be fewer retail outlets. Whether there'll be less retail business is another matter, because of course what you will be well aware of is that a lot of online shopping actually takes place through a high street outlet, that you may buy it online but you go and pick it up at the high street outlet. So I think not necessarily the amount of business done, but probably the number of retail units will decline. What we need to make sure is that therefore other things, other services, as Mary Portas has suggested, come into the high street, so the high street changes but remains absolutely vibrant and at the heart of the community.